guys, my name is Kayla and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the lore of The Sims. So I'm gonna do like a little bit of a, not too in-depth, but a little bit of a highlight of like some of the lore from the Sims franchise. And if you're not like clued in, if you're like, what the hell are you talking about? There's lore in The Sims, a simulation game. Yeah, there is. The whole thing is like in a connected universe except The Sims 4, which we'll rant about in a minute. But I thought this would be a good idea since they're rebooting, like, or not rebooting, re-releasing The Sims 2 and Sims 1. And like, maybe there'll be a lot of people that don't know about this and are playing those games for the first time. And yeah, so I just wanted to talk about some of the lore that I love because I just love the lore of the Sims franchise. I'm so angry that The Sims 4 is not in the like connected universe, but that's okay. I'm not gonna rant too much about that today. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so let's start with, I think, the most important thing, which is the timeline. Okay, so the timeline of The Sims, first of all, they all live in a country called Sim Nation. Now, is that a creative name? No, but it doesn't quite matter. So yeah, basically they all live in this country called Sim Nation. There's a bunch of towns, as you'll know if you play The Sims 4 even, and the Sims games came out in an order, but that's not the order of the timeline. So the timeline goes The Sims 3, The Sims 1, then The Sims 2. So it's kind of like mixed up, but it's really cool once you get into it. And like if you play The Sims 3, then The Sims 1, then The Sims 2, you'll like see the ages of the characters and things like progressing, and it's like so awesome. But yeah, they decided to put The Sims 4 in a different universe. And all that basically means is that they didn't include lore. They might be like retroactively adding lore now, but unfortunately, there's not really any lore that matters in The Sims 4 because even the lore that they did add is like disconnected from the real timeline. So you might be asking me, why does this matter? But honestly, I just wanted to talk about this because they put so much effort into those Sims games. There was lore, there was so much attention to detail, and I just wanted to highlight that for especially new players of The Sims because a lot of people are playing The Sims for the first time, including The Sims 4, but some people are even going back to the older games and trying those. So yeah, I just want to put a little spotlight on it, and I just love this about The Sims, and I never get to talk about it, honestly, so that's why I'm ranting about it on my channel. But yeah, so the timeline goes Sims 3, then there's a 25-year gap. Then it's The Sims 1, then another 25-year gap, and The Sims 2. Now, there wasn't a 25-year gap in like release dates. I'm not trying to confuse you guys. Just like in the universe, there's a 25-year gap, which is crazy because you can like see all of the characters age. Like, for example, let's talk about the most prominent family in The Sims, I would say the Goths. Like, just to give you like perspective of the timeline, The Sims 3, the Goths are kids. So Mortimer and Bella don't know each other, they're children. In The Sims 1, they're married. And we see like the classic Bella and Mortimer, like living life, living the good life. And in The Sims 2, as we all know, I will get to this in a minute, Bella is missing and Mortimer is an old man, I think, if I remember correctly. I haven't played these games in a long time. Like, I play The Sims 4 nowadays, every now and then, and I've played The Sims 3 recently, but I haven't played these other games in a long time. So this is like memory bank from like 12-year-old me. So keep that in mind. But I will fact check some of these things and like, yeah, so tell you in the editing process. But yeah, so let's move on to, I'd say, one of the biggest topics in Sims lore of all time, Bella's disappearance. So if you don't know who Bella Goth is. That's crazy. Because she's like the most important character in the Sims franchise. There's a whole mystery around this Sim. Now, if you're not familiar with her, she, like I said, Bella Goth, she's a part of the Goth family. She married into the Goth family. And like I said, in The Sims 2, she mysteriously isn't in the game. Like, kinda. She's kinda in the game, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. But she's not with Mortimer. She's not in her life. She's missing. And this is such a big thing in The Sims, and I love it so much because they're just like, oh, they're so, like, it was so in depth. Sims 4, why did you do this to me? But anyway, so Bella is missing, like I said. And we're gonna talk about the events that lead up to her going missing. So I'm guessing she went missing like after this, between The Sims 1 and The Sims 2. So there's like a gap of 25 years where she disappears and then she's not in The Sims 2. So she and Mortimer, old Morty Goth, are married. They have 2 kids, Cassandra and Alexander Goth, and they're happy. They're living the good life. They're rich. Uh, Mortimer Goth was supposedly working on an aging potion or de-aging potion or something, or like immortality potion. And there's a lot of drama in this story, and we'll get to it like as soon as I can. But let's start with how she went missing. So, if you don't know, a big character in The Sims as well is Don Lothario. He is a player, he's a troublemaker, and of course, he is at the center of this disappearance. So, Bella went to his rooftop, which is suspicious. Bella, what are you doing at his house? We all know who he is and what he does. He's a womanizer. Womanizer. Oh. But anyway, um, so she's at Don's house, looking through a telescope, and the next thing, by the way, this is all through Sims 2 memories that we can like see this happening, like it's in other Sims memories. And Bella gets abducted by aliens. Anyway, and so if you don't play The Sims, getting abducted by aliens is not a strange occurrence. It happens a lot. And you can actually get pregnant from an alien, whether you're a male or female sim, doesn't matter. Aliens will be impregnating you. And Bella disappears, which is, I'd say, the only time a sim disappears from an alien abduction. And of course, it's our beloved Bella. Why would they do that to us? But anyway, I love the story though, so I'm okay with it, okay? So she disappears. She gets abducted by aliens. Dawn is the last person to see her alive, and Morty is left alone with the kiddos. And yeah, so that's basically the gist of the story. Bella's missing, she never comes back. Now, let's get to the more nitty gritty of the story. So I'm gonna go like a little bit of an off spin of the story. We're gonna like circle back to Bella, but we're gonna go to Dawn's side of the lore. So Don Lothario, like I said, a player. He's in all the Sims games, even the Sims 4, even though he's like not himself, I would say. But so he's a player and he's involved in a love triangle. I wouldn't say it's kind of more love diamond or a love hexagon or something, because there's a lot of sides to his love triangle. So basically, Don leaves Cassandra Goth at the altar, which is why I think Bella went to visit him to like be like, what's the deal? And he was like, come to my roof, like look at the stars. He was probably trying to get with Bella, let's be real. He was like, you're rich, we could like take care of Mortimer, and you know, I might not want your daughter, but you're richer. So maybe that's what happened. But that's besides the point. So if you load into the game in, I think, I don't know which iteration this is. I'm not going to tell you because I can't remember. But if I Google it afterwards, I'll put it somewhere on the screen. But basically, Don leaves Cassandra Goth at the altar. They were going to get married. He leaves her at the altar. He cheated on her with a lot of people. But first, he dates Nina, and Dina Caliente. And that is also a big, like, they're a big part of this story. We'll get more into them in the future, but let's just start with this love hexagon. So Don leaves Cassandra Goth at the altar, simultaneously dating Nina Caliente and her sister Dina Caliente, and as well dates this maid chick that, like, she's such a homewrecker in The Sims. I miss her so much that she's not in The Sims 4. But basically, he is like dating all of these people: the maid, Nina, Dina, and Alexandra? No, Alexandra? Cassandra. I was mixing the two kids' names. And also trying to get with Bella. So Don is busy. But he ends up not with any of these people, which is fine. And I'm really happy because these girls deserve better. But basically, the story goes that maybe Nina and Dina put him up to making Bella disappear. And if you're like, why would they do that? Let's get to the next point, which is that Nina and Dina Caliente are half aliens. So maybe the person who abducted Bella, the alien who abducted Bella, is related to Dina and Nina Caliente. Because they are half alien and like pollination technician, whatever the hell, is their father. I don't remember who their mother is. I think their mother's in The Sims 4, but she's like inconsequential in this story, so. And she's like dating Don in The Sims 4. Ew, what the hell? Anyway, so I think, and like what a lot of people think, is that Nina and Dina and Don hitched a plot, or like cooked up a plot to get rid of Bella, to get Mortimer's money. Maybe Nina and Dina were like gonna flirt with Mortimer, which they do if you look into all of the memories and things when Bella is gone. So, what I think, they were like, Mortimer's rich, he's working on a elixir to keep you young, which everyone wants. Who wouldn't want that? By the way, that's like kind of, we don't know if that's true. That's like assumed that he's working on an elixir to keep people young. But let's just say, for the sake of the story, that it's true, okay? This is all a video game. We can lie if we want. Anyway, so what I think is they all made a plan. Don was like, I'm gonna try to get with Cassandra first. And then he decided it's not worth it. How am I gonna get to Mortimer without like using Bella? And so they make Bella disappear and try to get in with Mortimer. And maybe Don was like, if you give me some of the potion or whatever, I'll do this. But yeah, basically that's what happened, according to me. And yeah, really interesting. So Bella is missing for The Sims 2, like I said, but you can actually find her in Strange Town, not Strangerville like The Sims 4, not that abomination of a copy. Strange Town in The Sims 2 is strange. And I don't know if it's in The Sims 2 or The Sims 3 where you can find her in Strange Town. I don't quite remember. But you find her there. She's older. And I know there's like a spin-off game where you can find her. I think it's also in Strange Town, or maybe like another town where you find her and like can talk to her and whatever. But basically when you find Bella, she like has memories of like being abducted and stuff, but she like doesn't remember her family really. She like kind of remembers the kids and Mortimer and like kind of what happened, but she doesn't really remember herself too much. And it's like kind of like, ooh, what happened? Like, did the aliens wipe her memory? Did they like experiment on her? And that would not be too weird because that is something aliens do in The Sims. So I don't know what happened there, but basically, dun dun dun, Bella's not dead, but she dies of like old age in a random town without her family, which is really sad. But you know, they could have continued the story in The Sims 4. They could have put like The Sims 4 between, I don't know, maybe The Sims 1 and Sims 2, and we could actually see what happened to her. But no, they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to do the effort. But anyway, so moving on. that is Bella's disappearance, the whole lore. There's a lot more to it, but like I said, don't want to do too much of a deep dive. You can do that on your own. I just want to highlight the base parts of lore of the Sims franchise. So let's move on to the next one, which is Olive Spectre. Whew, this is a good one. This is a good one. I'd say this is probably my favorite lore, like in the Sims period. Like, yes, I love Bella's disappearance. That is like the OG lore story that everyone got into. Like, what happened to Bella? What happened to Bella? And everyone tried to figure it out and stuff like that. And we still technically don't completely know what happened there. But Olive Spectre, insane. She is insane, like I said. She's a character in, I don't remember which iteration of the game is. I think The Sims 2. The Sims 2 really had everything, you know? Most of the lore is in The Sims 2, and it's like, it's in the other games as well, but it's most prominent in The Sims 2, especially because they all have like memories. So you can like read through the memories and like see what happened in their life. Awesome. But anyway, Olive Spectre. Hence the name Spectre might allude to, you know, what's happened in this lore part of the story. She kills people. She's a mass murderer, serial killer. I'm past the 10-minute mark, so I'm okay saying that. But yeah, I kind of love her. Yeah, I support women's rights, but I also support women's wrongs. You know, for story purposes, not in real life, obviously, but story purposes. You know, she's kind of cool. But anyway, so she does a lot of bad stuff, basically. Olive Spectre offs every husband she has, except for her OG husband, and also offs a bunch of random NPC characters as well. So she's crazy, but I kind of love it. You know, I love the drama. So she lives in this creepy old house and has a graveyard in her backyard full of her victims, you know? And if you go through all of the like memories and things that Olive has, you'll see that she's like a black widow. But let's start with her origin. She marries the love of her life, can't remember the man's name, can't remember the man's name for the life of me, but it's the love of her life. She doesn't kill him. He dies unexpectedly and really young. And Olive is like really sad. She was really in love with this guy. And I think she just decides like, to hell with love. Love can die, and I'm gonna kill every person who tries to love me from now on. So she gets with like a bunch of other guys. Namely, I'm gonna name a few. Their names probably sealed their fate. Maybe she picked them because she was like, come on, with those names, I'm gonna kill you. So their names are like euthanasia, like obviously like spelt like names, but if you read it, like it's euthanasia, and like uh early demise, and like I think that was her OG husband, I'm not sure. But like a lot of those types of names, and it's like, come on, were you trying to die? Like, were your parents trying to get you killed? But anyway, so she offs all of them after like getting married or dating them. She offs a bunch of random pizza delivery people, poor people that just ended up there. I feel so bad for them. And she also ends up adopting one of her, I don't remember whose kid it is. Like, I'm sorry that I don't remember everything. Like, come on. I'm one person and I've not researched all of this for like a long time. I like, this is just like in my memory of like playing the game and like watching old videos and like on the internet and stuff. So yeah, basically she's just a serial killer, and my personal theory is that she's like, I don't know, she was like really in love with this guy and he like died young, and she was like, what is this life? What's the point? And she just like lost it. And like she has like a chair in the middle of her graveyard, which is so creepy. She's just sitting there being like, look at my work, my carnage. And like she and Death are like best friends, like sort of kind of flirting, because he just shows up all the time, you know, because she keeps killing people. And yeah, it's just crazy. But anyway, so that is Olive Spectre. like I said, please research this stuff on your own. It's so interesting. Like, there's so much more to the stories. I'm just giving you like a rundown of the most important parts. But let's move on to, I'd say, one of the saddest lore stories, which is Nervous Subject and the Beakers. So, Nervous Subject, as you could probably tell by his name as well, the names are very obvious in the Sims franchise, and I'm fine with it. Like, I kind of love it. Very camp. But anyway, so Nervous Subject spends most of his life as a subject. Like, he's getting tested on by his not kind of adopted parents, but also he's like old enough to like live on his own. But basically, he ends up like trapped in a basement dungeon, and the Beakers, who are like these psycho couple who like experiment on people, like trap him there, and like they like paid him at first, but then he just ends up being trapped there. And they like do a bunch of experiments on him, and in the end, that's how he dies, which is really sad. He dies from them experimenting on him, and it's really sad. And I feel so bad for this kid. And this is also linked to Olive Spectre, because whatever his name is, Nervous Subject, is Olive Spectre's child. He gets taken away, and maybe it's because she's like a serial killer and they're like, this is not a good house for a kid to be in. Or maybe she couldn't take care of the kid. She like just couldn't. We don't know who the kid's father is. Maybe it's Death. Maybe it's, I don't think it's her actual old husband, because like I think he died too young, maybe, or something. But yeah, he's Olive Spectre's kid, and she doesn't even know that he's in the same town which she's in, which is Strange Town, by the way. And yeah, it's just so sad. They're like so close to each other, but they don't know it, and they both live horrible, sad lives. But yeah, so that is Nervous Subject and the Beakers. And the Beakers, if I see you on the street, I'm beating you up. So let's move on to a bit of a more funny kind of part of the Sims lore, which is the social bunny and the tragic clown. So the Sims 4 doesn't really have any NPC characters, but the previous games had a lot. We had the burglars, we had uh, the social bunny, maids, butlers, and the tragic clown. So let's start with social bunny. Basically, what happens is it's this massive bunny. It's probably a guy in a suit, but we never see the guy, so, or a girl, doesn't matter. But it's basically a giant bunny, which is horrifying. I think it's based on this like old thing. There was like an old movie that like has like an imaginary friend or something that is a giant bunny. I'm not sure if it's connected, but I think some people say it is. But the social bunny was the bane of my existence as a child. I remember playing The Sims 2, like, and the social bunny would get me killed so many times. Because let's just start with what the social bunny is. The social bunny shows up when your sim has had no social interaction for a long while, and and they're like depressed because they have no social interaction, and like their social bar is like empty and they're about to die. And so, by the way, you could die from a lot of stuff in the previous Sims games. The Sims 4 is like easy mode. Like all of the other ones, damn, it was so difficult. I like was so frustrated as a child. Anyway, so the social bunny got me killed so many freaking times. So the social bunny shows up when you need him, basically, and he's supposed to cheer you up and like talk to you and things, but all he ends up doing is laughing at you, making fun of you. And in my case, every single time the social bunny showed up somehow, I don't know how on earth this happened, every time they showed up, my sim was in the bathroom. And like there were always like bathroom stalls and things in public places, and like I was in public places trying to socialize to get my sim's needs up, and the social bunny would show up because I couldn't, I don't know, maybe there weren't other sims or something, I can't remember. Okay, I was a child. And the social bunny would always show up when my sim was in the bathroom, and the stall door would be closed, and the social bunny would be in front of the stall door, and my sim would die every single time from like starvation because the freaking social bunny was in front of the door. I don't know how this happened so many times, but I have a core memory of this happening a bunch of times. So yeah, the social bunny never helped my Sims, and I'm sure a lot of people like can agree that the social bunny never helped. They just make fun of you and like ruin your life. But anyway, let's move on to the other one, which is the tragic clown. The tragic clown is really sad. You like get this painting, and it's also creepy. You get this painting of like a sad clown, hence the name the tragic clown. And if you use it enough, and you're sad and whatever, or you're, I don't remember what your emotion has to be, but if you use the painting enough, the tragic clown shows up. And if you're really sad, they try to cheer you up, but he's really bad at his job because he's a tragic clown, not a funny clown. And so he's just trying to cheer you up, but you're just like getting even more depressed. And then these like agents show up and like kill him. I'm not sure what happens to him, but they like take him away into this tube. But you can like, if you want to get rid of him, that's what you can do, or you can just burn the painting, which is horrifying to think about, but you know, that's The Sims. So like creepy, but nobody talks about it anymore. But I love it, you know, it's a great balance. But yeah, those are the social bunny and the tragic clown NPCs. There's also this other one that I didn't really want to bring up because he's really weird. It was like this therapist that came if you're like lost your marbles or whatever. I can't remember all of the needs you had in the other games. There were a lot. But I think if you like went kind of crazy, the like therapist would show up, but he would also not really help. He would just be like, "Yeah, you're crazy. Bye. Thank you for that." But anyway, so I miss the NPCs. They were, even though they made me so angry, that's the best part of the game. You know what I mean? Like scripted things like these were so fun. It was so chaotic. Like it's organized chaos. Now The Sims is like chaos, which I still love, but I miss this type of thing where there was scripted stories and like scripted things that could happen that like made you insane. But I love it. Anyway, so what is the last thing I want to talk about? Agnes Crumplebottom. So Agnes Crumplebottom is in The Sims 4 as well, but she was in previous games and we actually learn about her life. But if you've only played The Sims 4, I'll talk about her there a little bit. She comes in one of the expansion packs. I think it's Cottage Living, right? That she gets added into the game, and she has a sister for some reason, which is like, who are you, ma'am? Never seen you in my life. Like, she does not have a sister. She does have a sister, but it's a goth. Like, she's actually technically kind of a member of the goth family. Like, I don't know if it was married in or like maybe she married a. Oh, yeah, she married a Crumplebottom. She was actually a goth. But yeah, so she does have a sister. But not whoever that lady is in The Sims 4. Maybe, I don't know, it's an adopted sibling or something. I have no idea. Or maybe it was her husband's sister or something. I'm not sure. But regardless, Agnes Crumplebottom's story is really sad. Basically, it's very similar to Olive Spectre, but she takes a different route with her sadness. She like gets mad and hits people with a bag instead of killing people. Her husband also dies like when she was pretty young. And if you actually go into her house, I think in The Sims 2 or maybe The Sims 3, you see that they have a like kids room that they were going to set up, and she like was about to have kids, and then her husband died, and so she doesn't have any kids. Her husband dies young, and she like just goes through the rest of her life like a hermit. And yeah, she hates people with her bag, especially couples, because she's like, I hate love. But at least she's not killing people like Olive, you know? She's a little bit better than Olive, but also I enjoy Olive's chaos. So, but yeah, that is basically all of the fun lore things of the Sims franchise. Yes, there is a lot more. There's so much more. And I'd really like urge you guys to go look for it. Like if you play The Sims 2, go look through Sims memories, like Townies memories. They're so filled with stories and there's so many details, especially if you go to like the town and you read some of the descriptions of the houses and of the town itself. Like, oh, there's so much detail and I love it and I miss it. I really was hoping that there would be a Sims 5 first of all, but I was also hoping that if there was a Sims 5, they would come back to the lore, you know, bring it back. I wouldn't be mad if they did and like it would have been so cool. But yeah, apparently the Sims 4 is never coming and well, maybe never say never, but in the near future it's not coming and yeah. So the only lore we have is what we have so far. And The Sims 4 is disconnected, which I will never get over. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one.